Mid-Chapter 2 Test Review. Here we go, page 59, number 5. Write the ordered pairs for each relation. Find the domain and range. So, what I told you before, let's start from left to right. So, x, y. So, our first point's right here. So, that'd be -2, -2. Our second point's right here. So, that'd be -1, +1. The next point's right here. 1, 0. The next one's right above it, so 1, 1. The next one's 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. So 4, 3. And then 4, 1, 2. 4, -2. So what is the domain and range? Okay, well the domain's the x values, and the range is right here. So our domain is that list without the repeat. So it should be, okay, it's just this without the repeat. So our domain is -2, -1, 1, and 4. So there's our domain. All right, our range, we don't have to list repeats. I like to go in negative order, so from least to greatest, -2, 0, 1, and 3. Okay. Moving on, number 8. Make a mapping diagram for each relation. All right, so number 8, we'll just list all the domain, all the x values. So all the x values are 0, -1, -2, and -3. So that's a pretty easy domain map to make. 0, -1, -2, and -3. All right, so there's my domain map. Okay, my range, I have 0, -1, -27, -8. So -27, -8, -1, and 0. All right, let's match them up. 0 to 0, there. -1 and -1, there. -2 to -8, there. -3, -27, there. Okay. Easy enough. Number 12, determine whether each function is a relation. Well, to be a function, the x value cannot have more than one value for y. So let's check. I have a 1 and a -2 and a 1 and a 3. So since that has a value of 3 and -2, number 12 is not a function. Okay, number 22. For each function, find f of -5, f of 1/2, and f of 3, and f of 4. So for 22, the function is f of a equals 2a plus 3. Okay, and so I need to find the f of -5. So all we're going to do is replace the a value with -5. So 2 times -5 plus 3, that'd be -10 plus 3, which would be -7. All right, the f of -3, again, we're going to use the base equation up here and just replace the a value. Okay, so -3 is 2 times -3 plus 3, which would be -6 plus 3, which would be -3. All right, f of 1/2 would just be 2 times 1/2 plus 3, which would be 1 plus 3, which would be 4. Okay, last one, f of 4. So it'd be 2 times 4 plus 3, which would be 8 plus 3, which would be 11. So that's number 22. Okay, going to turn the page to number 53. Ooh. That's a good one. So f of 1 over g sub 3. Okay. So I've got f of 1 over g sub 3. Well, f of 1 is 2x, which would be 1, plus 5. G sub 3 would be negative 1/3 x, which would be 3, plus 2. So 2 times 1 is 2, so that would be 2 plus 5 up top, which would be 7. On the bottom, negative 1/3 times 3 is negative 1, so that'd be negative 1 plus 2, so that'd be 1. So f of 1 over g sub 3 would be 7. All right, so that pretty much sums up everything we're going to do, okay, on lesson 2-1. Now, let's move on to 2-2. Okay, we're going to do number 1, 5, 10, and 11. So I'll go ahead and circle those. 1, 5, 10, 11, 20, 26, 32, 38, 39, 40. Okay. Graph each equation, check your work. Okay, y equals 2x. There's a couple different ways to do y equals 2x, okay? How do we graph that? Well, you can plot points, and again, all you have to do is plot points, or you can know what the y-intercept is and the slope and go from there. All right, we know the y-intercept is 0 and the slope is 2. So you could plug in values to get this, but you're going to find out you're going to have this line right here. Okay. So if you don't see that, just plug in numbers. So when x equals 0, y would equal 0. When x equals 1, y would equal 2. Now you can plot your points. Remember, x is your horizontal axis and y goes to the sky. All right, number 5. Okay, number 5 says this. 5x minus 2y equals negative 4. Okay, I'm going to solve, get y by itself. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 5x to each side. So I'm going to get negative 2y equals negative 5x minus 4. Now I'm going to divide everything by negative 2. So I'm going to get y equals 5 over 2x plus 2. All right, you can plot in points, okay, or you can just plot with the information you're given. So let's just plot with the information we're given. Okay, so here we go. I got y equals 5 over 2x plus 2. So we know the y-intercept is positive 2, and the rise is 5, and the run is 2. So that's all the points we need. So we'll go draw it. So we'll go graph it. There you go. There's your equation. Y equals 5 halves x plus 2. It's a positive slope, and the y-intercept is 2. Okay, number 10. Fundraising. The school glee club needs to make a total of $4,500. They need to make $4,500. Okay. To make money, the members are selling baseball caps for $4.50 and sweatshirts for $12.50. Graph the equation 4.5x plus 12.5y equals 4,500, where x needs the number of baseball caps and y is the number of sweatshirts. Okay? So it says graph it. Okay? So when x equals 0, $12.5y equals 4,500. Divide each side by 12.5. And you get 360. So y equals 360 when x equals 0. Let's make that 360 right there. Okay? So now when y equals 0, 4.5x equals 4,500. Well, x is going to equal 1,000. So when y is 0, x is 1,000. So there you go, 1,000. Explain the meaning of the x and y intercepts in terms of fundraising. Well, the x-intercept or the y-intercept represents the number of sweatshirts sold. If I sell 360 sweatshirts, I've made my profit. The y-axis represents the number of baseball caps sold. Okay? So, we have our graph. And we have what it means. So there you go. Okay, going on to number 11. Find the slope through these 2 points, 1,6 and 8, -1. So that's our x and y values. Our slope is the change of y over the change of x. So let's go, what is 6 minus -1? +7. What is 1 minus 8? -7. So there you go. So my slope is my change in y, which is 7, and my change in x, which is -7. So 7 divided by -7 is -1. So that is my slope. Number 20. Write in standard form. Okay, standard form means ax plus by equals c. We know this. A slope is 3, and we have a point. 1 and 5. So I have a point and I have a slope. So let's use point slope form. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So y minus 5 equals 3 times x minus 1. Write it in standard form. So y minus 5 equals 3x minus 3. So let's get it over. Let's subtract y to each side. So I'm going to get -5 equals 3x minus 5 minus 3. So now I'm going to add 3 to each side. So we get -2 equals 3x minus y. So there you go for number 20. There's your solution in standard form. All right, 26. All right, number 26. Write in point slope form the equation of the line through each pair of points. So number 26, I have point 1 and point 2. -10 and 3. And -2, -5. Okay, just for a refresher, point slope is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, where y and x are constants or for variables. Everything else we can plug in. Step 1, we need to find the slope. All right, so the slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So my y values are negative 5 minus 3 over, again, y2 minus y1. Now it's going to be x2 minus x1. So that's going to be negative 2 minus negative 10. So that's going to be negative 8 over positive 8, which will be negative 1. So now I know the slope, so m equals negative 1. So I just got to choose one of the points, and I will use negative 10 comma 3. So I have a point and I have a slope, so now I just plug it in. Y minus y1, 3, equals our m, negative 1, x minus negative 10. Okay, so we simplify. Y minus 3 equals negative 1 times x plus 10. So our points are 3 and negative 10, and our slope is negative 1. Point slope form number 26. Number 32. Moving on. Find the slope of each line. 32 is 5x plus y equals 4. Alright, so if we can get it to y equals mx plus b form, we can find our slope. So let's just get y by itself. So subtract 5x to each side. I'm going to get y equals negative 5x plus 4. So that equation looks a lot like that. So our slope must be negative 5. Okay, 38. And we get a graph. Write an equation for each line and then graph. So it's going to go through point negative 2, 1 and is parallel to this line, y equals negative 3x plus 1. So the slope of that line is negative 3. So the slope of a parallel line is also negative 3. So I have a slope and I have a point. So we can set up point slope form. Okay. So it says write an equation. It doesn't say which one, so we'll use point slope. So y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Okay, y minus our y1 value is right here, 1. So y minus 1 equals our slope is negative 3, x minus negative 2. So it would be y minus 1 equals negative 3, x plus 2. Okay, do I have enough information to graph it? Yes, I do. It did not tell us which form to get it in, so that is irrelevant as long as we get it in a form. So let's just graph it. Okay, there. So what do we know? Well, we know it goes through point negative 2, 1. So negative 2, 1. Okay, negative 2 is our x, so we go left 2, 1, 2, and up 1. It has a slope of negative 3. So that means down 3, 1, 2, 3, to the right 1. Okay, I have 2 points. That's all I need is to graph it. Okay, so I'm going to have a negative slope. There we have it. There's our line. Right there. Okay, so that's how we did a line that we know is parallel to another line. 39. Write an equation that goes through negative 3 comma negative 1 and is perpendicular to y equals negative 2/5 x minus 4. Well, the slope of this line is negative 2 over 5. the slope of a perpendicular line is the negative reciprocal. So that would just be 5 over 2. So I have a slope and I have a point. So again, we can go back to our point slope form. Y minus y1 equals m x minus x1. Okay. Now we just plug in y minus negative 1. Remember, that's your x and y values. Equals 5 over 2 x minus negative 3. So it's going to become y plus 1 equals 5 over 2 x plus 3. So there's my equation in point slope form. So let's graph. All right. We have a point negative 3, negative 1. Negative 3, 1, 2, 3, down 1. So there's a point negative 3, 1. Our slope is 5 over 2, so rise is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. There, should be right here, sorry. All right, let's draw a line. There you go. Positive slope. Looks good. Okay, number 40. Goes through negative 7 and 10 and is horizontal. So what is the slope of a horizontal line? 0. So if you're not sure, just plug it in. Y minus y1 equals m x minus x1. Okay, so y minus 10 equals 0 times x minus negative 7. So you're going to get y minus 10 equals 0, and then y equals 10. Now you could have just saw that and saw that it was horizontal, so you knew it was going to be y equals the y value there. But you just take it through your steps. Now we've got to graph it. Okay, for time's sake, I'm going to just draw a quick graph. So there is my graph. So I'm going to draw a line here, parallel, and I'm going to mark that point as 10. So here's my line at y equals 10. Okay, make sure you know how to do these. It's important. All right, last page. Okay, number 1. Page 74. Number 1. For each function, determine whether y varies directly. Okay, this is just like the example from our book. So k is nothing more than y over x. So that would be 4 over 2, which would be 2. 8 over 4, which would be 2. And 32 over 16, which would be 2. So number 1, the answer is yes. Find the constant of variation k equals 2. So y equals 2x. So there's all 3 parts of the question. Okay, number 9. Determine whether y varies directly with x. If so, find the constant of variation. Well, this one's set up. You only have 2 terms. You have a y term and an x term. So yes, it is a constant of variation. Okay, so the equation, y equals 12x. Does it look like y equals kx? Well, it sure does. So my constant of variation is 12. Okay, number 13, right below it. Y equals 4x minus 3. Well, how many terms are in there? 3. Are there any terms that are not x or y? Yes. So this is not a direct variation. Okay, number 17. For each direct variation, find the constant value of y, and then find y when x is negative 5. Okay, so I'm going to find a spot over here, sorry. So here was the question, here's what we know. Y equals 2 when x equals 7. So we got y equals kx. So 2 equals k times 7. So k, divide each side by 7, is 2 over 7. So there's my constant of variation. Again, this is number 17. So now I have an equation, y equals 2/7 x. Okay? So now find the value of y when x equals -5. So y equals 2/7 times -5. So y equals -10 over 7. Okay? So working on number 23, page 74. Suppose you work on a tree farm and you need to find the height of each tree. You know that the length of an object's shadow varies directly with its height. Refer to the diagram. So the diagram has a person. Okay, there's our stick figure dude. And he is 6 feet. His shadow on the ground is 2 feet 2 inches. Now we have a tree over here. All right. However a tree would look, of a height unknown. We don't know. That's what we're trying to figure out. However, we can measure the shadow. And the shadow is 8 feet 4 inches. Okay. So we need to find the constant of variation. That's an equation of y equals k times x. Well, since I know a y value and an x value of my shadow, we can find the constant of variation. Okay, my height is 6 feet. My constant's k. My x is 2 feet 2 inches, which I could rewrite as 2 feet 2 over 12, which I'm going to go ahead and make a improper fraction. 12 times 2 is 24, plus 2 is 26 over 12. Okay, to get k by itself, I'm just going to multiply by the reciprocal of 26 over 12, which is 12 over 26. Whatever I do to one side of the equation, I have to do to the other. 12 over 26. So, I'm going to multiply. That's going to be 72 over 26 equals k. Okay, so let's write it this way. K equals 72 over 26. Can we divide everything by 2? Sure can. That's going to be 36 over, looks like 13. So my constant of variation is 13 over 36. I can't simplify it anymore. Okay, so let's find the height of the tree. The height of the tree, so y equals k times x. Okay, so y equals 36 over 13. My x value is 8 feet and 4 inches, which is the same as 8 feet and 4 over 12. We can go around the horn to make it an improper fraction. 12 times 8 is 96. 96 plus 4 is 100. So my x value is 100 over 12. Okay, so I can simplify the right side a little bit. So y equals 12 and 36 becomes 3. 300 over 13 feet. Okay. So how can I write that right? So you can say that is 23 feet if you wanted to. 300 divided by 13 is 23 and some change. 23 times 13 is 299. So you could say 23 feet and 1 over 13. Okay. All right, going to number 24. Y varies directly with x. So if y equals 4 when x equals -2, find x when y equals 6. So we can cross multiply, so I'm going to get 4x equals negative 12. So x equals negative 3. Okay? 28. We got a word problem. A speed of 60 miles an hour, okay, 60 miles per hour is equal to 88 feet per second. Find the speed in miles per hour of an aircraft traveling 1,000 feet per second. All right, we can just cross multiply. So we'll make that an x. So 88x equals 60,000. X equals, do 60,000 divided by 88. 681 miles an hour. 0.8 miles per hour. Okay. There you have it. Oh, we got one last one. 52. Suppose you're driving a car and you go 392 miles on one tank. Okay. Tank holds 14 gallons, so you went 392 on one tank, which is 14 gallons. The number of miles traveled varies directly with the number of gallons you use. Write an equation that relates miles traveled to gallons of gas used. All right. So miles equals some constant times gallons. So there's our equation. You only have enough money to buy 3.7 gallons of gas. How far can you drive before refueling? Okay, so we got to find our constant K. So 392 equals K times 14. Divide each side by 14. Okay. You're going to get K equals 28. So my new equation is my miles equals 28 times however many gallons I got. So I only have enough money to buy 3.7 gallons. So how many miles can I go? 28 times 3.7. I can go 103.6 miles before I run out of gas. Part C, you drove last year you drove 11,700 miles. How many gallons did we use? All right, so I got M equals 28G. So gallons would be M over 28. So 11,700 over 28. So my gallons used last year, approximately 11,700 divided by 28 equals 417.9 gallons. Okay, part D. Suppose the price of gas is $1.57 a gallon. Find the cost per mile. Okay, that might seem a little tricky, but that's not too bad. So miles equal 28G. Well, how many miles per mile? So we want 1 mile times 28G. So we used 1/28 of a gallon of gas. Well, how much would 1/28 of a gallon cost me? Okay. 1 divided by 28 equals, times it by $1.57. So 1 gallon is 1 over 28. So you're going to say, what's the cost of that 1 gallon? $1.57 times 1 over 28, and you're going to get it costs $0.56 a mile. There you have it. So the cost is 0.056 cents a mile. Okay, look those over, and if you can do those, you should be absolutely fine for this test.